I would say most of the times I make videos where I want to make a cool sound. I fail, but 1 out of 10 times, or maybe 1 out of 5, 6, 7 times, I succeed. And the only times I succeed are the times that I'm prepared to fail. And it seems that the more I am prepared to fail, the better I do. So maybe you, as my audience, know that where I fail to succeed, I have little faith. But at least I got a little faith. You, I, we have to continuously flip everything. The war is everywhere. The front line is everywhere. I consider myself to live a very safe life, but like increasingly as I get older, I become more afraid of wild animals. I consider myself lucky that I've not been mauled by wild animals because as I've gotten older, I've seen more and more and more and more of them in my daily life. Luckily, mostly I see deer, which are 99.999% peaceful, and turkeys, which are 99.999% peaceful to humans. And even when they get a little feisty, they're not so bad, but also, have respect because don't think for a minute that you can't be killed by a turkey or a deer because you definitely can be easily if they want to. Just saying. But anyway, all I wanted to do today was make sound. But there's something I have to say. But before I say it, I gotta make a little sound just in case I never get there. It's like you have to push a little harder. That was supposed to be the weak one. I'm hoping a stronger one comes later, but it might not come today. I saw a lady in the grocery earlier today. I saw a lady in the grocery earlier today, and I wouldn't have seen her if she hadn't been wearing clip cloppy shoes. She was wearing clip cloppy shoes. I don't know if they were high heels or clogs or high rise whatevers or just hard hard bottom shoes, but they went clip clop, clip clop, clip clop. I wouldn't even have looked at her because she was just out of my periphery. But then I heard the clip clop, clip clop, clip clop, and then I looked to the side, and this woman was sexy as hell, man. Her hair looked like fire dipped in honey. Her legs looked like something I've never seen before. Her frame was like every great movie I've ever seen, all crunched up into one. She kind of reminded me of one of my ex girlfriends, but she also kind of reminded me of all of my ex girlfriends. And people always thinking that liberal love is so great, but I don't know, man. To end up a middle aged man and then an old man with your heart spread across many loves. Try and fail, try and fail, try and fail. As someone who has tried and failed, won and lost over and over again, I've had many wins in love across the faces of many women. How'd that turn out? Terrible for me. I will say, this is one of the things that did happen though, and this is kind of true, so maybe there's something to it. Maybe me being loveless now had something to do with my ex girlfriends. Here's what I mean: all my ex girlfriends were better than me. They're all better than me. I was totally aiming up all the time. I was always shooting up. And I shot up and I shot up and I shot up and I shot up. And one out of 1,000 times I'd get one. So I got me these wonderful girlfriends, you know, but they were promiscuous like me. And as it so happens, like I didn't used to be promiscuous, but my first promiscuous girlfriend, like kind of, yeah, no, she definitely seduced me into it, but I went along with it, you know. So I'm not blaming her. I'm just saying, like, she was, all of my girlfriends were more experienced than me. And most of them, not all of them, but most of them seduced me. I seduced a couple of them in situations, but I will say that the only ones I ever seduced were ones who I knew because I knew their friend. I knew the whole social group. Like I already know where they've been. I've seen it with my own fucking eyes. You know, but it doesn't make it any better. But it makes it understandable. But anyway, I thought I saw my one of my one of my ex girlfriends earlier tonight, and I wouldn't have looked at her, but I heard clip clop, because I was in the convenience store walking up to the aisle where she was walking away from, and I had my beer and my wine and my gallon of water in my hands, just looking at the clerk. But then I heard clip clop, clip clop, clip clop. So I looked to my left in the order of the sound, and all I saw was this like magnificent woman with the most unbelievable legs and unbelievable butt and unbelievable beautiful hair. She was thin as a rail, and just so elegant. And that's a fact. So what's a old fucker like me supposed to do with that? Well, honestly, just as a physical human specimen, I was like, whoa. But then I was like, oh yeah, back to business. Yeah, I'd like 2 packs of bison, please. Thank you, sir. You got to get back to business. But anyway, this lady reminded me of one of my ex girlfriends. And it reminded me of all my ex girlfriends. And it reminded me of how my heart is spread across time. And how I haven't been with any real women or like physical women in over a decade. But I've been with spiritual women, uh, Ruth and Saint Agnes, also Hypatia. I believe in the future she should be named Saint Hypatia. I do. I do believe that. I do believe in the future Hypatia of Alexandria and maybe other Hypatias should be recognized as saints. Remember, I said other Hypatias, and all of that caught up in the misnomered Neoplatonists, Hypatia of the misnomered Neoplatonists, which I think would be better identified as the Arco Iamblicheans. I said it. Anyway, the big thing was that at the convenience store earlier today, I saw someone that reminded me of my girlfriend, one of my old ex girlfriends from over 10 years ago, 15 years ago. And I recognized that it literally triggered every emotion in me. And it was one of the weirdest feelings because I felt everything. I felt the hate, I felt the love, I felt the jealousy, I felt the empathy, I felt the compassion, I felt the sympathy, I felt the pride, I felt the loss, I felt the gain, I felt the win, I felt it all. Because just this simple, like, I looked sideways and my mind was like blown away by the beauty of this woman. But most of why I was blown away is because it reminded me of one of my ex-girlfriends who no one like no one has ever treated me so good, and no one has ever treated me so bad as this one particular lady. And I ended it because she treated me so bad. That's what I thought at the time, but first of all, the fact that I folded means that I'm shit and didn't deserve her. So I don't even need to go further from there. But also, I knew before we ever got together, I knew it all the time we were together. Like, she's a better person than me. She is. So, how do you, like, when you've been intimate with someone who's better than you, like, what do you do after that? Like, better in every way that you value. Physically better, spiritually better, pragmatically better, idealistically better, economically better, even with more stacked against them, they're better than you. They succeed more than you. They have more stacked against them than you do, yet they win. And you, me, we lose with supposedly everything stacked in our favor. Why does that happen, dear Lord? One of the yeah, I think maybe actually the most neglected verse in the Bible. In the Bible. In the Bible. I think maybe the most neglected verse is, and God hardened Pharaoh's heart. It's like everything everything about the last 3,000, 4,500 years, whatever, well into BC or BCE or whatever. It's so funny. I always love talking about this. It's always worth noting. It used to be AD, which in America we considered after death, but in the Latina lingua was what, Anno Dominum Dominus something, and then BC in English was before Christ, and in the Latina lingua was something like I can't remember. But then supposedly in the neo secular, I would say hostile secular definitions. Now it's supposed to be BCE and CE, before the Common Era and the Common Era, respectively. But I still think it's so funny that the abbreviations can be overtaken because BCE can mean before the Christian era, and CE can mean the Christian era. So, you were not good enough at etymology, you were not good enough at philology, you were not good enough at linguistics, you were not good enough at history, you were not good enough at philosophy, you were not good enough at theology, theosophy, any of it. Teleology, never mind teleology. Shout out Aristotle and Iamblichus. So, if you can make that bridge between, like, if the Brooklyn Bridge, right? Okay, imagine this. On each side of the Brooklyn Bridge, there's these two massive towers. To my mind, one of those towers is Aristotle, and one of those towers is Iamblichus. All right? I'm gonna sell you that bridge, motherfucker. So, yeah, there's piles and there's piers, there's cables, there's concrete, there's rebar, you know, there's everything. Everything make up that Brooklyn Bridge. A lot of gum, a lot of snot, a lot of Earl. Lots of Earl there. Lots of Earl. Lots of Earl there been spilled on there that them there Brooklyn Bridge. But anyway, the point I was trying to make. Sorry. Yeah, well. Confession time. Yeah, so if we make our confessions to each other, open source confessions, if we make our confessions to each other, we have no need for a priest. If we don't make our confessions to each other, we do need confessions to a priest. Open source prayer, open source confession, right? Why not? Why not? So I like to smoke. I've never smoked so much in my life. I went from more or less a pack and a half a day for like the last 25 years, and over the last year it's been more like 2 packs a day. It's not supposed to go that way. Mostly I feel better, but there's something wrong here in my face and my shoulders. I don't know what it is. Though I will say my whole life, my right side of my body has aged faster. I had pubes in my right armpit before my left armpit. I had pubes on the right side of my parts. My right leg, my right arm, everything. Now my right ear's fucked up. My right ear's more slanky. We'll see. But anyway, the whole thing I was trying to get to, I keep trying to get to it, is I saw someone for like 5 seconds, hot as shit. But she reminded me of one of my old girlfriends. And then it reminded me that I had so many girlfriends. And it reminded me of the fact that my heart is spread across so much of time. And it reminds me how much I think it would have been better if I just stayed in love faithfully with the first woman I fell in love with, even as she went away, even as she went with others. Like, knowing what I know now, I know that if I had only been with her and I had never strayed, even as she did, like, I don't know. I'm not saying like I wish that had happened. I'm just saying like I made the wrong decisions. I was convinced by the untrue side, and I regret it as well I should. That's my perspective as an old man. But anyway, yeah, what I was trying to get to, God, I can never get to the point, is that this is what I'm trying to get to. Like for real. This is the whole point of this video. Like it's the whole point. I recognized, so that was like not even 5 seconds. It was like boom, one, two, like yeah, like barely 2 seconds. But it triggered this thing that lasted like a minute and a half. And as I was pulling out of the driveway of the convenience store, I recognized that something about this girl, and I say girl, she was a woman, a middle aged, creepy, well, 30-year-old woman that I had dated for a while. She really struck my heart, man. She was always too good for me. I didn't know it then. I know it now. I know it now. But at the time, I didn't. But I still did at the time recognize that no one's ever been so good to me, but also no one's ever been so hard on me. So fucking hard on me. Too hard on me. Or at least that's the way I felt. Too much of a woman for me. But anyway, something about being reminded of her like triggered every single emotion that I have. Every good, every bad emotion. Like every single one. It's like I couldn't be mad, I couldn't be sad, I couldn't be happy, I couldn't be, and it's like I couldn't be anything. Everything canceled everything else out because just being triggered by that experience, like every emotion was lit up. And they appeared to cancel each other out. And it seems tricky and sneaky. It was the clip clop of her shoes, which is a very important detail. It has to do with hooves. Hooves of the sheep and the goats. Why do women wear shoes that clip clop on hard floors like livestock? It's not a coincidence. it coincides. Good enough. I wish it were prettier. I very much wish it were prettier. Am I allowed to... Shit. Am I allowed to play? Flowing water never spoils. So, too, flowing air. Flowing water never spoils. So, too, swirling, twirling air. Do do boom boom boom.